Good morning. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time of adversity.
Shake what?
Welcome.
Entertain me.
That's the objective. It's 9 o'clock. Thank you for rising and shining at 9 for 9 to noon. Paul Allen, Brett Blakemore fills in for Nordo today. And we begin with Kevin Gorg. The Senior Spotty Gorgomatic machine is in the building, and I happen to be quite excited about that. Good morning, KG. And how is grandbaby Leo and your daughter Katrina?
Good morning, guys. Great to be with you. And, fun to see the little grandson last weekend. I was down in Florida seeing them for 3 or 4 days. Got to go to SeaWorld, got to go to Tampa Bay Downs and see some of the Canterbury connections down there. It was a little chilly. I'm not going to lie to you. I was expecting warm weather, and we got, mid 50s, low 60s, which is fine. It's better than what we've had here for a long time. But no, it was wonderful to see them, and settling into the break here, getting ready to watch some Olympic hockey. It's going to be really, really fun.
Yeah, that's terrific. Is there a game going right now?
Yeah, there was this morning. Last I saw, the Swiss were in complete control of the early game, and we've got Canada tipping off here at 9:30. They're a 2.5 puck favorite. So the first game went to Switzerland, 4-0 over France. You've got Canada, a 2.5 puck favorite against Czechia here at 9:30. Then at 2:00. The U.S. 3.5 puck favorite, minus 2,400 on the money line against Teddy Bluger and Latvia.
KG came in with some odds.
KG.
With your trip southeast during the Olympic break. What do you like about Tampa Bay Downs?
My first time there while they were racing. I'd been to the backside years ago to see the ponies. Jamie Ness hosted us. This is probably 12 to 15 years ago.
Wow.
Wild off day. Went over there with a bunch of peeps from the Wild traveling party and saw his horses. But no.
I've been there one time myself. I have a descriptor opinion I'm going to share with you momentarily, but what'd you think?
I thought it was pretty cool. It was really crowded on Saturday. I wasn't expecting that. So it's me, Trina, and Leo in the stroller. And navigating with the little one is a challenge, even at a place like SeaWorld the day before where it wasn't crowded. But it was packed.
Yeah.
I mean, the track was packed.
Yep.
And I'm trying to get my
great
plays.
With crowds.
I sure am. But
Me
no,
too.
We had a great time. A horse named Drama Chorus
Yeah.
that runs at Canterbury in the summer.
I watched the race.
It was awesome.
Ran
Trina had
second.
5 across. I, of course, had a nice win bet, but I hadn't exacted with the horse that beat him.
15-1.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Cool race. The horse ran great, and we made a little money, so we had some fun.
Yeah, see, the quasi-adventurous nature that you possess, I also possess. It's like go to a different state and, I don't know, go to a racetrack.
I always love that one.
You know what I mean?
Movie theaters and racetracks, they always tend to get my money.
Do we always have to go to the movies and the racetracks? Holy cow. With Tampa Bay Downs, the one time I was there, 10, 11 years ago, had a gangster feel to it. Just kind of, see, there were a lot of people there when you were there. There wasn't when I was.
You were on a weekday, probably.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa, this is old school here. Totalizer board, old school. Betting pools, wow, voluminous. It just older people with the racing forms in front of them. Just look like they've been there forever, like stogies and stuff. And I'm like, wow, this place has a gangster lane.
It still had that. There were stogies. There were racing forms. I felt like there were a lot of older people from the East Coast that maybe are snowbirds and head down there and love the feel of a racetrack. But I was really surprised at the crowd because, we know at Canterbury come summertime, we have some of the best crowds in horse racing and our fans are legit. And so I wasn't quite ready for, 10, 11,000 fans on a Saturday at Tampa. Yeah.
Wow.
I had no idea. We got there in time for race 2, and we had to park way, way in the back of the lot. And I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. It was, there was a Derby prep race on the card. Sam Davis was race 11 that afternoon.
Bro, you were there when IRAD was there?
IRAD was there. We got to see IRAD in the paddock, of course.
Come on,
it was awesome.
My favorite outside of Minnesota rider.
I know.
Did he win?
He won a couple.
Yeah,
he did.
He didn't win the Sammy Davis?
Nope.
About 3 weeks to a month ago, went to New Orleans by myself. Hey, New Orleans by myself.
Stop!
Stop.
Went to Fairgrounds.
What's that like?
And it's the first time that I've been there when they were racing. Went and saw a few of our riders. Erica Murray.
Yes.
Harry Hernandez.
Oh, Double H.
So Double H there. Went to see Loveberry, but his only mount scratched, so I didn't see him. And it's old school feel, but it's so antithetical to what we see at Canterbury May through September. Now, okay, pools are bigger, purses are bigger, track is older and, more historic and things like that. You could have shot a cannon through that grandstand and nobody would have died. I mean, it was me, 16 grooms, and 5 people who sneaked in.
Come on.
Yeah, it was barren.
Weekday racing, probably. Yep. Duly on the call.
But yeah, duly on the call. And one thing I really liked about being there, you've been to Prairie Meadows, right?
Yep.
So, with like in Altoona.
My place.
Love it.
You're from Altoona?
That's right.
Right. You lived by that great big giant cow?
I went to that elementary school where the fence is right next to Prairie Meadows.
I know exactly where that is, by the way.
That was
I was just there last summer.
Wow.
I played for the Des Moines Buccaneers, so Double B and I always have that connection when I see him. And I went back.
You played for the Des Moines Buccaneers?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's elite. How do I not know that?
1986, buddy. Hey. 40 years. Damn.
Yeah. So like at Prairie Meadows, it's you can and you could do this at Canterbury too, where you get down close to the track and close to the finish line, but there probably are 3, 4, 5 feet, with the fence and then Cody Classic and all that. At Prairie Meadows, you're a little closer to eye level, but you're right down by the track. Fairgrounds, you're eye level with the horses as they come down the stretch.
Oh wow!
And if there are 10 of them, and they're strewn out 10, like say 5, 6, 7. They're close to you.
That's they're really cool.
They're like 7 feet, 10 feet from you. It's unbelievable, and it's good for riders who lose on favorites that they don't have many fans there. Because the way they do their post parade, the horses they walk right by the fence with Rube Nation like 3 feet from them.
Whoa.
So I mean, if you're so and so Isaac Castillo and you just lost on 2 consecutive 3 to 5 shots, they'd let you hear about it down there.
Well, there was a scene in the movie JFK where they're at Fairgrounds Racetrack and they're talking about some of the covert activity leading into Dallas, November 1963. So obviously it's got an old school feel because when you film a movie, obviously filmed in the last, 30 years, and they're trying to make it look like the 60s, the Fairgrounds are one of the first places you'd go. Is it
good to have this Olympics break for the rinkside analyst in you?
I'm okay with it. It's been a busy schedule. There's been a ton of travel.
But you got a squad.
We got a good team.
You got a squad, man.
My 20th year doing this is bar none the best team I've ever covered. And, you got 3 superstars right now. It's a fun conversation. I've brought this up multiple times, but Quinn Hughes is electric. He's far better than a lot of us believe. We knew he was a great player, but when you watch him every day, you get a different feel for a player. We knew Kaprizov for years has been the face of the franchise. Matt Boldy's probably the best player on this team, and I think he's going to blow up at these Olympics. I think people are going to realize, off the 4 nations, off what he's done in the first 55 games of this season, this kid's about ready to take that stage as a superstar at the national level. And so I'm really excited to watch it. And to have wild players littered up and down these lineups validates the opinion that this is the best team in the history of the organization.
With Matt Boldy, is it truly fair to say that he went from good to close to star status thanks to the confidence he gained at that 4 nations?
He went to a different level last year after that. I think, Matt always had plenty of self-confidence in the right way. He's a real quiet, real down-to-earth, humble kid, works his tail off, but he always had that. You knew he was good. I think he realized that 4 nations tournament that, listen, I can play at a level of just about anybody on the planet, and that gives you that confidence. And you saw it in his game, not only last year, and more importantly, when he came into camp this year. He's just been a different player, and he looks like a guy that's about ready to score 50 goals in this league, which to me takes him to a completely different level.
Kevin Gorg, FanDuel ringside analyst for Wild Hockey, on a break right now with the team in the Olympics. And Team USA, the men play today at 2:10. Latvia, the bill of fare today. And the in-arena announcer, same guy for U.S. Bank Stadium.
So good.
And Ball Arena. Alan Roach.
Oh.
He'll join the show today at about 11:20 to say Faccio Bella, cara mia, ladies and gentlemen. We're really into it here. But with the USA ladies, how much are you watching of them?
I haven't missed any of the games yet.
Yeah.
I think the last couple of years working 10, 12 games a year in the PWHL covering the Frost has really elevated my interest, no question. Getting to know some of those players. And Taylor Heisey, I know you know Taylor well. Her and P. Fox, just wonderful humans. But no, it's really good hockey. What I didn't realize, and I coached at the college level for 10 years, but the game has gotten so much faster. The girls have gotten so much bigger and stronger. How physical these games are.
Yeah.
Body checking is encouraged, right? To separate players from the puck. And what's caught my attention throughout the start of the Olympics for the women's team is Abby Murphy, the same player that Bill Guerin's been enamored with. I can't believe what a difference maker she is. She's been their best player, and she's a college kid that plays for the Gophers. I mean, I can't wait to watch her at the next level.
Yeah, the gift of that goes into the confidence for that no-look pass to Bilka.
Unbelievable.
But when you and I were texting it at that time.
Exactly at that time we were texting.
It happened at that time. I'm like, are you kidding me with that no-look? I mean, it was amazing.
It was one of the best passes I've ever seen. To execute that from the position she was in the strong side corner, no look to the weak side post, on time, on the tape. That's something that only really high-level players can pull off.
Who beats them?
Nobody. Right. I think Canada's going to give them a much better game when they get
Poulin.
Marie-Philippe Poulin's a tremendous hockey player, one of the best players in the P-Dub. She makes a huge difference on that team, not just on the ice, but the leadership that she brings. But bottom line is, unless they get a ridiculously good performance from Debian in goal, the U.S. is quicker, they're deeper, and they're just a stronger team. So they're going to beat Canada. I think it's going to be a much more competitive game when they play for gold, maybe a 2-goal game. But U.S. looks really, really tough to beat.
He's KG, analyst, one of the analysts at Canterbury Park when we start racing in later May. And I'm also the rinkside analyst for FanDuel, covering Minnesota Wild hockey for a couple of decades. Brett Blakemore produces, and I'm Paul Allen. The What's on Deck, courtesy of TimberTech and TimberTech.com, includes the likes of Nacho Libre at about 10 o'clock and Alan Roach, Vox of all Voxes, ever to Vox from Milan, about 11:20 or 11:25. Double B has some funny honey money to be given away in areas.
That's correct. The cash thing, the fan wants to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com. The keyword is check. The keyword check. KFAN.com. Keyword. Never miss your chance to know what the latest sports news is in town, chances to win tickets, or just knowing what's going on with your favorite KFAN shows. You can follow The Fan, KFAN 1003, on all of our social channels like Instagram, TikTok, and X. You can stay connected and follow the sports leader, The Fan.
Kevin Gorg. Sounds of hockey. Wild. Hashtag Faith Radio.
Roughing the passer.
I'm a kid, so I call it KFAN.
Welcome back. 9 to noon is in the air. I think you touched on this a little earlier, playing wise, certainly, but how long did you coach? Kevin Gorg is our in-studio guest. How long did you coach high school and or college hockey?
5 years of boys high school hockey, and then 10 years at the University of St. Thomas as their women's coach.
All righty. Quick Google search shows beloved KG was 145, 75, and 13. 140, 575, and 13. That's a heck of a record. Coaching the St. Thomas women's team. Went out there and won 2 MIAC titles also. So why? And I knew that you did this, but like I never really looked into it. That's a nice record. Cupping and claps for that. 2 MIAC. Hey. But why didn't you stick with coaching? Because clearly you were good at it and successful.
I was a better recruiter than I was a coach. My assistant was Tom Pelkowski. He was probably the brains behind the operation, if I was being honest. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I loved getting to know the families, recruiting the kids, building the program from the ground up. We started as a club team and built it into a really good Division III program. Yeah. I'm really proud of where they are now at the D1 level. But deep down in the back of my mind, I always had broadcasting as where I was supposed to be. We all have that, right? Like, you end up where you're supposed to be. And I had done a bunch of it on the side. I'd worked at Canterbury starting in 2000. And when that opportunity came up in 2006, and I got the call from LaPant, and he's like, hey, these guys want to check you out. Come over and do a couple pregame shows with us. I knew right away. Like, I had the bug. I'm like, I really need to do this, and just took off from there.
Well, was it difficult leaving coaching?
Yes, it really was.
Right.
I loved it so much.
The interaction, and I mean, I've never coached at that level. I've coached, but never at that level. But like, when you implement a plan and you watch these ladies or these men grow and absorb the plan and execute the plan, and then it's like, not coach, you were right, but coach, I get it. That's phenomenal.
It was so cool to be a part of those lives and to live vicariously through those teams. And it reminded me a few months ago, I was lucky enough to drop the puck at the first women's game at the new arena at Anderson Arena for St. Thomas for their D1 debut in their new building. And they had all the alumni back from those original teams. And I bumped into probably, 15 or 16 of the gals that played for us at St. Thomas those first 10 years. It reminded me what a great group of people they were and how much fun we had together. The bus rides, the team meals, the practices, the chemistry. When you're a part of a team, there's just something sacred about that. And I miss it. I do for sure. But I wouldn't trade it for anything right now, where I'm going and where I've been the last 20.
And I'm glad you said that, because, whether opportunities to do things nationally on radio or TV or whatever have emerged for either one of us, that's over there. But what's over here is what you just said. It's that there is a certain heartfelt appeal when, now, I'm as voice of the Vikings, I'm a hired gun guy. I think you are too, where, you know what I'm saying? Where, it's a 1099. I'm not a team employee and stuff like that.
I'm an independent contractor.
There we go.
Sure.
We're independent contractors, but, nevertheless, in a roundabout way, part of the covenant. And, sometimes you got a lot of sitting on buses, sitting on tarmacs, waiting for things to happen, looking at your phone for a long time. You can be cramped quarters a little bit sometimes on planes. But, this really revealed itself to me during the pandemic when I didn't travel with the team and called Vikings road games from US Bank Stadium with Bursich and Lieber from the home box off 2 TVs. One was the TV copy. The other was the All 22 live that the NFL provided for all of us because nobody was traveling. And what really hit me was, I think it was a game the Vikings had at Tampa Bay, and they lost. And so I call the game, and then I leave Minneapolis when they're in Tampa Bay, and I get home, and I'm mowing the lawn, listening to Vikings fan line, being like, this ain't right.
Nope.
Because the KGs of the world and Spearfish Sammys and all my dogs, they're sitting on that bus, negative, because the team just lost. Everything's different in the first place. And when you're part of that, sweating the wins and the losses.
Nothing better.
And what goes into it during for me, it'd be a week up to the game, sneaky conversations, practice, stuff like that. For you, it could be 1-2 days or a back-to-back and chats on a plane. That's irreplaceable. As opposed to, say it's the NFL. Cool. All right, let's leave on Thursday and let's get to Jacksonville, and they got the Texans, and we're going to go to practice, and then we're going to have these coach meetings and these Zooms and things like that, and And then we're going to fly home after the game. There's just no intimacy with it. There's just
no connection.
There's no connection. Thank you. So you know exactly what I mean, right?
I missed it so much during the pandemic, calling games from weird spots, using my cell phone on speaker to interview guys where I was, thousands of miles away.
Wow.
The butterflies you get before kickoff, that I get before puck drop, are twofold for me. It's I want to do a good job. I want to make sure my preparation is good. I want the interviews to go well. And then the other part of the butterflies is I want the team to do well.
Yeah.
Because it's so much more fun to do any of our work when they're winning. And
It's awesome.
think of a post game after a huge win. It is it's a rush. It's a huge rush.
But you
for sure.
learn a lot about people too.
Yep.
Over the years, and we've both done it for multiple decades. Where you've been with Heinze, you've been with Yossi, you've been with Torchetti, you've been with Jacques Lemaire. I'm missing a big one in there.
Boudreau, obviously.
Bruce Boudreau, thank you. So you've been with a lot of them, and I'm identifying head coaches and/or coaches. It could be players too, but they're a lot younger and a little different with the way they talk to our types. If in direct fashion is what I'm getting at. When I say you can learn a lot about people is all right. When things aren't going well, who points the finger to take the heat off them? So kind of like, we've learned to look over the left shoulder, look over the right shoulder. Well, how are we supposed to win with this guy playing here? How are we supposed to win with this draft and how it worked out? Things like that. And on the other side, when you've won 10 in a row or 11 in a row, you can learn a lot about people during that time too when they peacock.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So it's just the human dynamic of it is sometimes I think a lot of people will jettison the forest for the trees and just be like the wins and the losses and the paycheck and the job and it's cool and everything. But it's professional athletics and what goes into it for coaches and players, unless you're next to it as much as we're privileged to be, it's so much.
Oh, God.
It's so
different.
stressful and lack of sleep and bad eating habits at time and weird hours and things like that.
It's the day-to-day for sure. And I guess, you work hard in our business to earn the trust and the respect of everybody, but specifically the head coach. And so
big time.
Andrew Burnett, we just talked to him a couple weeks ago, the last game before the break, about the profession. He says, we all get hired knowing we're going to get fired at some point, most likely. And so you walk that line, and you mentioned some of the coaches, and Dean Evison, that one hit me really hard.
Yep.
Really hard. You get to know these guys. You get to really appreciate these guys. You become a conduit. And, we're very, very fortunate in our business to have these relationships with, these coaches at the highest level. And then when they get fired and somebody else gets brought in, that process starts all over again.
Yeah.
And they've all got such different personalities. John Heinz is a completely different guy than Dean Evison. Love them both. Excellent coaches, great to work with, but completely different on the day-to-day. And I'm sure you'd say the same thing looking back at Zimmer and now KOC.
Yeah, and well, I mean, it goes all the way back to like when I started with Mike Tice. But that if I had to identify one thing that I genuinely appreciate most or am most heartfelt with having the privilege of calling games for this team is ever since this new regime came in, and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah had a lot to do with it, even though he's not with the team anymore, is the finger pointing is not there. I mean, it may be there behind the scenes, but it's the spirit. It's in essence like the spirit returned to the building, and like in 2022, I was so sour on the situation. I'm like, I don't need to be kicking my feet up on coaches' desks anymore to hear Everson Griffin and Daniil Hunter are going to move inside in a playoff game against New Orleans. I don't need that. They know they can trust me. They know they can trust you. I just don't need that. The friendships that will happen moving forward will be born of authenticity. And then I called those wild games, had a great time doing that. And after that, I was like, all right, well, what's going to be next? Well, so I didn't go to practice. Like I was never there early in 2022. I'm like, these friendships will be born of authenticity. They will happen in two-way fashion. And that's how this is going to work. then they started playing the games, and they got the Buffalo game, and everything was close and excitable and stuff.
Fun.
Well, now I'm like, I got to be there every day. I mean, this thing's unbelievable. What's happening right now? This is unbelievable.
Brought you right back in.
Yeah, Cousins, he's fantastic, and so the dynamics of that job that you have and these jobs that we have tied into the interpersonal communication. And in essence, in surrogate fashion, raising these hockey players on and off the ice. It's analogous. It just because sports are so emotional and so competitive, and these people internalize so much that you can just sense sometimes that somebody's bursting at the seams. And if you just give them like a little compliment, authentically, not made up, pat them on the back about something that is going well, I mean, that goes so far. Kindness Chronicles.
It's awesome. It is, and I had a picture on my phone that I found from 15 years ago. It was draft night, the year that the draft was in St. Paul, and I was interviewing Jonas Brodin, and we both look a lot younger. I mean, we both look a lot younger. He looked like a baby, and so I pulled it up on my phone at practice about a month ago and showed him, and he could not stop smiling. Those are the things that make the job extraordinary. Like, I've covered all the guys on this roster.
Like when you were on Buffalo and the picture in the press box. I mean,
they got me on a horse and jockey sucks. That was a low point for sure.
Best ever.
And that was during my time as a women's college hockey coach, and the players got a hold of that picture and had that littered all over the locker room when Coach Gorg came in to give his first speech of the year, and that was comical as well. Mo Hardwick pulled that prank off. So there are all kinds of layers to this, but I don't take it for granted.
Awesome.
The jobs we have in a Canterbury, the friendships we have out there are pretty unbelievable. So I don't take any of it for granted.
What from a coaching standpoint, with hockey, obviously, what are some differences coaching women compared to men?
I found this out really early in my time at St. Thomas. So when I coached high school hockey, you show up, the guys are out there, they've done their stretches, they've shot their pucks and messed around. You blow the whistle, you start practice, everything is cool. What I found out early in my tenure at St. Thomas is with the ladies, there needed to be a little more of a run-up, where there was a little more conversation. So we would get on the ice. Instead of blowing the whistle right when the coaches got on the ice, we'd spend 2 minutes kind of circling the rink, touching base with a handful of players, letting there be a little more communication, and then boom, we'd go. What I loved about coaching women is they always wanted more feedback. The high school boys, especially the older ones, figured they had it all tied together. They were cool. The women just wanted to get better every day. They wanted more. And so looking back, I enjoyed coaching women's college hockey a little bit more.
Yeah.
And the other factor is you recruit the players, and once the parents bring the kids to the college and drop them off, it's the kids.
Yeah.
At the high school level, there's the booster club, there's the emails, the phone calls.
Yeah.
Little Jimmy needs to be on the power play and all that, and just took away from some of the enjoyment.
So that's age old. Okay. Parents, and this is the small majority of parents. But, like other things in the world, that majority can be super loud.
Oh, for sure.
Well, so that, we're talking 20 some odd years ago. So, that's happened forever. I just, because I know people who coach either hockey, basketball, or football at the high school level all throughout the state. And man, it gets nasty sometimes.
And when
my
my
kids aren't
personality.
playing.
I'm a people pleaser,
Yes.
so I'm going to take the call. I'm going to take the email. And when I got to St. Thomas, in my 10 years there, not one call, not one email. They're grown up. They're in college. Yeah. They're figuring it out.
Well, they're on scholarships. You just saved them 20 dimes. I mean, if I'm a dad of a girl there, I'm like, you do whatever you want, man. You saved me 20 dimes.
No, it was a great experience. I miss it for sure, but I made the right choice.
Well, tell me, because like I had the privilege of coaching girls junior varsity high school basketball in Southern California. Graduated 84, so like 86, 87, 2 years, and an assistant coach with the boys' high school squads too, like third on the bench or whatever. But with the girls, you put a play in, they run that play to perfection. So like say it's passing game and like, okay, pick down, flash in, come back out, get the ball, elbow of the foul line. Now you got a back pick and they're looking for it. So the play goes exactly like that. And it worked. You get your best player in a spot to score. run that same play with the boys, and my man thinks he has an L on him in the perimeter. Well, the play is dead, and he's waving people off like, nah, here I go, watch me.
Yeah, I think, we can all look back to when we were 17 or 18. We probably thought we knew more than we really did.
Yeah, the boys just would freelance a lot more.
A little more ad-libbing.
Yeah, a little more ad-libbing. KG in studio, Kevin Gorg is the best. You ever have a player at close to just with, I guess St. Thomas would be the comparison here. Ever have a player close to what we see in who you mentioned earlier, Abby Murphy? She's a power forward.
Yeah, I had a kid named Tanea Wrights from Moorhead who could have played Division I hockey, decided she wanted to go to St. Thomas for a lot of different reasons, be more of a big fish in a small pond. She was physical. She could skate. She could create space. And she was an offensive weapon every time she was on the ice. Not quite to the level of an Abby Murphy, but terrific player that was our go-to player that every night when she was at her best, we couldn't be beat. That's how I look at Abby Murphy. When she's at her best, there's no way that the Americans are going to get beat. She's the best player on the ice. And pretty remarkable when you see all these pro players that have that experience at the P-Dub level the last couple of years. And here's a college kid that's taking over the Olympics. That is uncharted waters, and that's what makes her such an extraordinarily talented player.
They with the Frost, they get decent crowds.
They do
at Grand Casino Arena, right?
Yeah, they get between 6,000 and 10,000, depending on.
That's fantastic.
And what it is, it's a lot of families, right? It's going to a hockey game at any level is a big expense. But when you go to a Frost game, it's a remarkably different expense than it might be for a Wild game. And you can sit in the lower bowl and you can see the pace of play and how physical it is, what good hockey it is. And so it's a great value. You see a ton of families there and a lot of afternoon games. If they play on the weekend, I would say 9 out of 10 times, PA, it's a 1 or 2 o'clock game. And I think that also makes a difference.
With the way you and I are wired, we absolutely, with what I'm about to say, are in the same fishbowl and we're under the same rock in that, neither of us are team employees, and we're independent contractors, but we want the team to win.
For sure.
Okay. And it really, really matters to us. So here's where, and I've never seen this with you, so I'm just going to venture a guess here. Like a home game. When things are good and the crowd's all fired up and there's like a big moment or a big goal, like the box behind the Vikings bench at about the 30-yard line, I'll stand up sometimes and go like, hey, and get the people to look and go, yeah. And I would imagine you're like that, high-fiving people at Wild games.
So I'm in the tunnel right behind the bench with all the athletic trainers. You got a Tony DeCosta, you got a Matt Benz, you got a Cliff Bar down there. So we're the ones doing the high fives and the screaming. But I can hear the players and the coaches. I'm 20 feet removed from John Hines.
Wow.
And you kind of live in that moment and feel that energy.
That middle tunnel, that's where you hang?
Right behind where they come off the ice. Wow. And I love it. And I love being able to kind of listen to what they're saying and how they're taking in the moment. And then when you hear that crowd, right? The crowd, just the crescendo at those big moments, it makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up.
I can't even imagine that. To the Olympics with once again, USA, Latvia today, 2:10, with Hellebuck, Ottinger, and Swayman. Does the U.S. absolutely have the best goalie situation in Milan?
They're the deepest. They've got to play at a high level. And I think if you look back at the Four Nations last year, Hellebuck and Bennington was probably a wash. And that can't be. If the U.S. is going to win gold, their goaltending has to carry them there. Hellebuck's going to get the start today. He's the incumbent. I do think Ottinger will get a start here in the preliminary games, but their goaltending has to be elite. When you look at the weapons that Canada has up front, they can outscore just about anybody in this tournament.
Double B, how excited are you for Team USA men's hockey?
I'm absolutely fine. I've been waiting for this since 2014 for a best-on-best Olympic setting. I mean, the Four Nations face-off was a nice appetizer. This is the real deal. This is as real as it gets. I have a question for you, Gorgie, on the defensive pairings. I thought it was a shoo-in that you would pair the two Wild defensemen, Hughes and Faber, together. I understand that Slavin and Faber were a great pair in the Four Nations face-off, and I get why you'd want to keep that. But you've got chemistry already with the two of them playing for the Wild for 20, 30 games. So what is your take on the defensive pairing separating those two?
I'm with you. I assumed that Quinn and Faber would be together because of how well they've meshed here in the nearly 2 months that Hughes has played in St. Paul. But I understand what they're doing. They want an absolute shutdown pair. And that's the one thing that Faber and Slavin showed in the Four Nations, that they could shut down one of those top lines when they played Canada, but specifically any of these teams throughout the Olympics, is they want one pair they can absolutely rely on to be a shutdown pair. They're going to get offense from other areas, including wherever Hughes is on that depth chart. So I'm not certain that they're not going to try a couple different things here in the prelims. They're a significant favorite today. They're going to be a big favorite Saturday against Denmark. I think the game Sunday against Germany, by then they want to have this thing kind of buttoned up. So I think you'll see Coach Sullivan along with Coach Hines kind of shift through these first two games. But I think by Sunday they're going to have this thing kind of set the way they want it.
Heard the name, seen the name. It's not clicking with me right now. Slavin.
Carolina.
Yeah, right. Okay, but what's good with his game? Like
skating. His elite skating.
So it's Hughes.
Yeah, this is a different type of player, though. Hughes is more of an offensive player, where Slavin's more of a shutdown guy. Think of Jonas Brodin, maybe a little bigger version of Brodin, and the way he can close space, take away. And again, when you're facing McDavid and Celebrini and Crosby and McKinnon, the way you can get in their way and stay with them. Not many can do it. Slavin can.
What really and the Olympic hockey with the women a lot this year for me because of how well I've gotten to know Taylor and Parker, and I just find myself, and Zumwinkle too.
Yeah,
I'm just pulling for them. And so I'm watching all the games like you. But Team USA men's hockey is immortality. I mean, do you believe in miracles? Yes, started there. Yours truly, 12, 13 years old. Same with you. Not many TV channels. I'm at a YMCA in Washington, D.C., getting babysat or something. My mom was working, and it was on this little TV, the game against Russia, the semifinal game, right?
Yeah, Friday night.
Right. So that, I'll never forget that. I was playing basketball, and the whole thing stopped, and then everybody watched it. I'll never forget that. So I was bit there. But what really got me this week is the last couple of days having Zach Parise and David Backus on the radio show.
I listened to the Backus interview. That was so good.
Well, and David, all right? Now, David was so thoughtful, vein opening, and long-winded yesterday.
He was so good.
And I've had David on the radio show probably 3-4 times during his career, and went, again, back to what we were saying about athletes and interpersonal communication and internalizing and coaches and trust and all that. And I've known David forever. When David was playing, might be a 30-word answer, but like yesterday from Nashville, and he's talking about 2010 and 2014 and this goal he had where he went end to end and never skated faster in his life. I compared him to Brian Giunta at that time and how he went power forward on it to get in front of Hiller, the goalie, and score the goal. And then in a game against Canada, he didn't play for like 15 minutes. So he's like, me and my dog here at the end of the bench, we're not playing, so we might as well root. And he was a power forward on a fourth line with Ryan Callahan and Chris Drury. I'm like, are you kidding me, for a fourth line like that? And what got me excited with him and with Parise when we played the Parise game-tying goal from 2010 against Canada.
What a game that was.
With Doc Emmerich on the call.
Oh.
And I haven't heard Doc in forever. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is unbelievable. And Zach loved it too. He chuckled. But they're so into this team winning a gold because they were part of it. And there's no spite. Well, yes, 2026, nice squad and everything. But, we got close in 2010. 2014 wasn't great. 2018 wasn't great. So, we didn't do it. So I guess, it doesn't matter to us if nobody ever does it for USA. No, they want it done. They want Canada to be on the losing side of it.
Big time. And
scratch this big border battle rivalry related itch.
Well, think of the relationships throughout their careers and, Canadians and U.S. players and the talking and texting back and forth, how much it means to these guys and being around the Wild players that were heading off to the Olympics. They're not playing for money. They're playing for their country. They're playing with their boys. And there is something sacred about this. And it's a huge deal when you're there. But what I loved about your interviews is it reminded me of what a big deal it still is.
Yeah.
For the players
me too.
that have played before. And it matters so much to these guys. And even going back to the guys that played in 1980, all those guys, the Buzz Schneiders, who I've got to know so well, the Neil Broughtons, Mike Ramsey. Listen, it
Pronger's
matters.
dad.
Yes, it matters so much to these guys. So to me, as a fan, just sitting back on my Barca lounger and watching, I feel that, and I can't wait to take it in.
Czechia and Canada are in the air. They just started from Milan. And 0-0 just into the game.
Bennington in goal.
And Backus, who played with Bennington. That's another thing that got me fired up. Talking about the goalies, and he's like, well, here's the deal with Bennington.
He was spot on, by the way.
If you get him early,
you got him.
He's all done.
Yep.
And he might be all done for the whole thing, like all the games.
But don't let him get hot.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what happened last year.
How great was that?
That's exactly what happened in the Four Nations. The U.S. came out and played so well in the first period, but he was that good, and he got hot. And then as that game went on, and it was a tight game, and it went into overtime, he's that big game guy that can rise up, and that's why people keep ripping him, and the numbers are bad. He's playing in St. Louis. They stink this year, but I am telling you, this guy, when you got those chips on the line, will show up.
That's the voice of Kevin Gorg, and unbeknownst to him, he's going to give his buddy another segment about 4 minutes from now, and we'll be done close to 10. Why is he doing that? Because a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time of adversity.
KG.
We'll be right back.
One teacher believed in us. Well, you can show your gratitude with Thank a Teacher. It's powered by Donors Choose. You nominate a public school teacher to win $5,000 for their classroom. This week, I want to shout out Emily Larson, teaches at Stillwater Area High School. You nominate a teacher to thank today. iHeartRadio.com/teachers. iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
Personal foul. Clipping.
Czechia, Canada, 0-0, 5 minutes into it. Can't remember who I was chatting. It might have been Russo Radio recently with the Team USA women's team. Oh, what do we got? 5-0, 5-1, 5-0. I mean, we're just, it's like, who beats that team? So then, when talking about the odds of the men and into this thing, Canada plus 115, about even money to win the gold.
For sure.
USA plus 175. So those two are 1 and 1A. Then you get up to 6.5 to 1 to Sweden. So that's kind of a big gap there, as you would know in the spot up business. And then we're talking about the games, and, Latvia's 5 NHL players. So this should be easy, right? And he goes, yeah, it should be and probably will be. But with the men, it's different. When you got these NHL players, and holy cow, did Finland learn that yesterday, right?
Finland learned it, and Sweden almost did. Our beloved Gus Bus didn't have his best day. Lets in a goofy goal early in that hockey game. 60 shots on goal, and this is a 3-2 game early in the third period. So, yeah, you take nothing for granted. We talked about Canada being a 2.5 puck favorite here, the U.S., 3.5 puck favorite there.
That's what it is?
Yeah, and these are prelim games, so
it's not like minus 1,100 or something straight up?
You can play it. I mean, if you want the U.S. to, you can lay the 2,400 to make 100, which is ridiculous.
Bridge jumper.
3.5 the puck line. You've got
3.5?
Merzlikins, the Columbus goalie in goal, who is capable.
Yeah.
You got your guy Teddy Bluger, second line center, solid hockey player. But no, if the U.S. comes to play, they're going to win a 4 or 5 goal game. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
These games are only about getting into that next level where it's a play down and you want to buy. And so if you run the table, and the U.S. is going to be favored to win heavily today, heavily on Saturday against Denmark, and then I think it'll be a good game Sunday against Germany, but they'll certainly be favored. You run the table, you end up being the 1 or 2 seed, you get the bye. All 12 play, but the top 4 get buys.
Yep.
Those 8 play in, those winners all match up, and then you get it down, to that great tournament where it should be Canada on one side, U.S. on the other, and I think on both, the men and the women, they end up playing for the gold.
That's dope.
You know what's a breath of fresh air that I just realized is this game, the Canada and Czech game, Czechia, was scheduled at 9:40. The puck dropped at 9:40.
Isn't that
on
nice?
the dot. Why can't we? Because the Wild will schedule it at 7, and that's what is listed.
Yeah.
And
Now,
the
the
puck
league-
won't drop until 7:23.
Well, that's the league.
Why-
It's not the Wild.
No.
Trust me, they don't want to play at 8:52.
I wasn't
on a lot of those
accusing the
playoff
Wild of
games,
that.
but
Everyone
it
does
stinks.
that.
Are we
You're right.
talking about the pick 5 at Gulfstream Park? We
love
get
the
into
pick
like race
5.
5 or something where they always start 20 minutes late?
Why is just the league just hit? Because it's odd, like soccer games, they always start exactly on the dot of when they're supposed to be. And I think it's just
Well,
a
that's because
European
nobody's
thing.
watching and they don't care.
Well, that's true.
I'm just kidding.
But it's the same
One-liner
thing.
alert.
It's the same thing that happened here. It's supposed to start at 9:40, and it started at 9:40. Why can't we do that
Why
here?
can't we just list the time, right? To your
Yeah.
point, rather than saying that game 1 in St. Paul, the Dallas Stars against the Minnesota Wild, April 18th, per se, starts at 8:30. Why don't they just say it starts at 8:52?
Yeah.
Because we know they're going to show the early game in its entirety, and they're not going to drop the puck until that early game's over. Why do they tease us that way?
Well, then the best part is to say pregame coverage starts at 8.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, well, now I got to wait an hour for the
a lot of
damn game
build-up,
to start.
man.
Yeah.
A lot of build-up.
I mean, this is radio, and hopefully a lot of people are listening. But with the with NBC or USA, whatever it is right now, the Vox is Kenny Albert, okay, who is elite calling hockey.
So good.
And the analyst is Eddie Olczyk.
As good as it gets.
Enzo's over there.
Of course he is.
Yeah, that's terrific, man. Hey, Jared, do me a favor. Just put that microphone in front of you real quick. All right.
Hit that on button.
Turn that microphone on over there. All right, Jared, hello.
Hello.
I'm not welcome to the studio. So I have a question for you. But just a quick little backdrop here. We have some remodeling and construction and things like that going on at our campus just west of Minneapolis. So I was walking with my head down the other day, and there's Jared, and he's all kind and everything. Looked like he was, like, I don't know if it was frustrated. There's a lot going on here with the remodeling. I'm like, why don't you come on in the studio, man? Put the headphones on and just look at your phone and chill. So my man just walks into the studio now. Got hockey on. He's got himself some coffee.
It's a good spot.
You're enjoying yourself, aren't you?
It's a blast.
Yeah. Would you be described as a contractor?
I work for a general contractor, so I'm the superintendent on the project.
Oh, I got you. So sometimes you just need to catch your breath, right? And this is a good place to hide in the radio studio of FM 100.
They can't get you here. No, they can't come get you.
I can't wait for you to try to do this 3 to 6:30. Hopefully you caught your breath by 3 o'clock. I'm playing.
One.
Okay, one last. So FL hockey on your hat. Here's the question: what's FL hockey?
Forest Lake,
Forest Lake hockey. What's the nickname?
Rangers.
So you got kids that play there, or did you?
I have second-year Pee Wee and a first-year Mike.
Right on.
Oh,
right
very
on.
cool.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
You're welcome to stop by anytime you want, especially if you need to catch your breath.
Yeah.
And enjoy Chechia in Canada. Kevin Gorg, FanDuel, you're a big hockey fan, as you told me yesterday. And that's my main man. They're like, we've been friends for over 25 years. All right, let's fly through this. Thank you, bud. Appreciate
thank
you. Let's see, Latvia. Any idea when the USA might be meeting Canada? Like, I haven't looked at how they stack up and stuff.
Well, it won't
Would
be
it have
till
to be to the end?
the gold medal game. Yeah,
Okay,
so
well-
we're probably a week and a half away.
Yeah, but was it 4 nations where they played Canada and
Only
dusted
4
them?
teams, though.
Oh, that's right.
So
Thank
this
you.
with 12 teams, you're not going to see them to the end.
Yep. Sweden is 6.5 to 1 to win the gold. Eriksson Ek, Johansson, Boss, Ballstedt repping the Wild for that squad. Despite what you saw against Italy, I mean, now that we're starting to see these teams and the depth and the voluminous nature of the talent on non-USA or Canadian teams, what do you think about the Swedes with a puncher's chance to win the gold?
Well, they're absolutely good enough to make a run. And likely that semifinal matchup, whether they match up with Canada or the U.S., either one of those two favorites is going to have to play their very best to beat them. They've got arguably the best blue line in the tournament. Their goaltending has got great potential and let's not sleep on Markstrom, who's behind, kind of in the middle of Wallstedt and Gustafsson. Gus got the start in game 1. He's the incumbent. He didn't play great yesterday. He's capable of much better. He'll play better as the tournament wears on. But the Swedes are deep. They're physical. They've got a good power play. We saw that on display. The 60 shots on goal tells you that don't be fooled by the way they had to grind that thing out. I thought the Finns were a sleeper coming in. they outshot and outplayed their opponent yesterday. They just ran into a hot goaltender who ironically plays for the Iowa Wild, but they're still a team I would not want to play in the semifinals like Sweden. And the Swiss this morning put on a clinic. They're another team that a lot of the so-called pundits are saying could upset the apple cart when you get to that final 8.
Canada coach John Cooper, he just tripped out. I think I know why he lost his mind, even though the sound's down. McKinnon scored, okay, and the bench went nuts, but it was nullified because of an interference penalty that's being served by Suzuki. And like Cooper's arms were outstretched and everything. So now Chechi is on the power play. These Canadians were so pissed off. Whomever is on their first PK, I mean, they like shots. I thought they were going to get a shorty right away off this penalty kill. So the Canadians are a little pear-shaped early in the equation.
Yeah, Bennington just made a big save in the early part of that sequence on the power play, too. I mean, Czechia is hanging with them, and that's a big overturned goal because, when you're a heavy favorite and you're supposed to dominate, and you get that early goal, everybody can kind of take a deep breath and just kind of play their game. Now, they're going to kill a penalty. There's a little tension involved. I love it.
Okay, help me with this before we say goodbye. Slovakia. All right, so they upset Finland yesterday. Who is, I think it's Juraj Slavkovsky. He scored twice in that upset.
Yeah, he's probably their best weapon. He's known for his hands. He can snipe. Again, if you watch that game yesterday, honestly, I'm looking at that game going, how are they winning this hockey game? I mean, Finland had grade A chance after grade A chance and could not score. And it just felt like a game where if you looked at the game and didn't see the scoreboard and saw the final score, you would have bet everything you had on Finland. They were the better team every step of the way.
Canada killed the penalty, and I think in closing here, one on the Wild before we leave it's safe to say better not go to the box versus the Canadians. I mean, holy cow! How about Canada's first power play? Your guy Crosby, McKinnon, McDavid, Cale Makar, and Sam Reinhart. That's absurd.
You take penalties, you're going to obviously be in a really tough situation against this team. They've got so much firepower. They can score themselves out of trouble, but specifically, if you're going to give them 4 or 5 man advantages in a game, you're not going to beat them. I mean, they're going to get you a couple power play goals every night if you take a bunch of penalties. So it'll be interesting to see how these games are called because they really let them play at the Four Nations. Different set of rules here. And obviously, there will be no fights because if you fight, you're out and you're done. So
really, what's that mean?
It means you can't fight in the Olympics. Okay. You're out of the tournament. So
the whole thing?
Yeah, you're done. So I mean, you have to realize that they're going to call this game probably a little tighter. They're not going to let them play like they did the Four Nations. And if you're the U.S. or anybody playing against Canada, you have to know going into the game kind of to pick and choose your spots. You want to slow them down. You want to be physical. You want to get in their way. But the stick penalties have got to be limited. It's going to be a fascinating tug of war because I think the U.S. team, if you look at the matchup, you love that blue line. You love the goaltending. You talked about it. But you also love the grit that they can play with along with the skill they bring. Bill Guerin made a statement in the way he picked this team. He didn't pick the 20 best offensive weapons. He picked guys that can play specific roles, and he talked about that. And I know that, Jason Robertson's camp down in Dallas is disappointed, and I get all that noise. But, Herb Brooks, those 46 years ago, said it isn't just about picking the best players, it's about picking the right players. We'll see if he did, but you can look at that roster and understand why you've got a Brock Nelson on that fourth line. It reminds me a lot of a guy like David Backes.
Yeah.
He has a specific role to play, and it's a different role here than he plays in Colorado, where he's probably going to score 40-plus this year. He's there to shut people down, to play physical, to kill penalties, and that's going to be where the rubber meets the road to see if the U.S. can hang in there and beat a team like Canada when they probably play for that gold.
All right, now, what's up, Nacho? Running a little late. Come on in and say hello to KG and Jared. Supervisor Jared, Forest Lake Jared, he just slid me a question to ask you. He's feeling good about himself, isn't he?
Wow, he must be.
Well, here's the question. Forest Lake Jared, supervisor here at Planet Utica. Out of the break and right into a back-to-back at Colorado and Utah. Ask Kevin, how far do you think the Wild can take this if they stay healthy in the right spots?
If they're healthy, they're good enough to win the whole thing. And I think the beauty of where they are right now is you're going to have 2 tough series to start the playoffs. You're going to have that Dallas series, which is likely going to be a coin flip. And I don't think the home ice will matter in that series. Whoever wins that series, in my opinion, The team that wins that next series, Colorado against Dallas or Minnesota, is the team that ends up winning the Cup this year. That's what I think about this division. That's how deep the Central is. That's how good these teams are as they are assembled right now. That second round series might decide the Cup. And if you're the Wild, you're right there in it, and you beat Dallas, you beat a great team, you beat a great goalie in Ottinger, and you finally got that whole first round narrative off your back.
Enjoy the downtime. Enjoy the Olympic hockey. Thank you very much for helping today for an hour, and we'll stay in touch.
Love you, brother.
Love you too. Kevin Gorg, KG, from FanDuel, and the side rink analyst for Minnesota Wild Hockey. Here comes Nacho Lieber, Ben Lieber. Nacho Lieber joins 9 to noon around the corner. It's 10:03. Good morning.